Hey everyone, in today's video I'll talk about the current PvP meta. Now I understand that I'm not a legend player, so if you're looking for that, I'm sorry, I'm not that guy, and if you wanna say my opinion doesn't matter because I'm not top 100, sure, fair assessment, then why are you watching this video? However, I still would say that at least when it comes to builds and general drafting ideas, I have a good insight on the game and know what I'm doing. It's just that I tilt way too much and then I play badly. Sounds like an excuse? It could very well be, but that has been my downfall ever since, basically. So in this video, what we're gonna do is, because I'm not a legend player, so we'll be checking out the top 3, which are Aronyang, also known as Epion Woman. We'll check Nightfall, which is the Europe guy with the Chinese name. And we'll check Wolf, aka Higa, because those are the top 3 players right now. What they're drafting, and then I'll show just a few drafting compositions that you can do based on how they play, how I play. And at the end, I'll just briefly talk about the current meta, because I feel like it's the worst meta we've ever been in. And that's not even to say the trash meta that we've had. I believe it was 2 seasons ago, where Witch Tenor was introduced, and she just ruined everybody's fun. This is easily the worst meta, and I explain why this is the easily worst meta. And I guess, or at least I think most of you will agree why it is that way, but we'll see. So, where am I at in Arena? Just to give you a perspective, last season, I was top 150. I was ranked 400, yeah. I was ranked 148. That's where I ended last season. And last season, I would say, was really good. I enjoyed it. And this season, I'm super struggling. Yes, I'm on a 7-win streak right now. But that doesn't mean that I'm actually good. Like, I was out of Emperor here. Like, I was literally in Warlord at this point. So that's how bad it is. I'm cut off gaming for no reason. My gears and units are way too strong to be even considered Warlord. I have gear and unit, or my builds are easily on par with any legend player you can find. Maybe not Arunyang or Higa or Nightfall, but anybody else, I can easily compete. I can speed race. Like, they have the fearless game. Yeah. He was a legend finisher 2 seasons ago. He's 5 out of 5, by the way. And I raced him like this, and I outsped him. So, and it wasn't even close. Like 3%. Yeah, it could be speed RNG, but I don't think it is. So I have the gear to make it easily to legend. I just boom. So that's where I'm at. And yeah, let's check out some of my drafts and see how my drafts differ from the top 3 in that case. So I'll just go through the last couple of games, because those are actually the drafts that are decent. Like, I mean, I lost this game because Tori never procced. She had 4 buffs throughout the entire game, but she decided, nah, not today, buddy. So I lost that way, which is really cool. I lost that game because for some reason this was on 25k HP and I couldn't kill her. And then I missed a couple of times, so cool stuff. Yeah. All right, so let's check out the last drafts of mine, and you will see a theme here. So I pre-ban Harsetti and Zio because there is a certain draft with Zio that I cannot beat at all. So I'm just banning Zio, and I'm gonna say, race me, bitch, because I'm usually faster than most people. The kind of draft is depending on what the enemy prebans. The prebans are all over the place these days. Most of the time it's Notos plus Biblis band. And if that's the case, I usually go Sarome plus X. But in this case, the guy had, first of all, the guy who tried to race me, and I can just briefly show the game that it failed miserably. And B, he had no answer to Obald, which is kind of funny. So I try to control down my enemies. I like control play style. So speed imprint 99%. And since I am on photogenic, I get to kill 2 for 1 here. Obald does his thing. Now, my enemy did a clever thing here, but sadly, it's to no avail. He copied Nodos to remove the silence. He then, however, 15%ed me on my provoke, which is also still fine. But at the end of the day, what's he gonna do in the field? It is defense frenzy. I have 4 units that are, well, 2 units that are really tanky, Biblis and Estelle in that case. Renak is also getting tankier by the day. And at the end of the day, he has no souls. He has 8 souls at this point in time. He has stewed onto my Estelle, and that's the damage he dealt, right? We can check it out here. He's almost fully injured at this point. 40 HP, which is usually 0.5 multiplier, so it's roughly 20k damage, less than 0.5 even. It is 0.5, but defense frenzy makes it a lot stronger, and yeah. He gets perpetually injured, so the next hit would be even less damage. For some reason... Oh no, never mind, he went... No, for some reason he went into Renak here, which I don't understand. Because that opens up another counter. So, that was not the play. But yeah. So, I don't mind playing against Nodos. I have a pretty good win rate against Nodos. And here again... enemy's first pick. I don't mind giving the enemy first pick. I like playing first pick. So what I do when enemy first picks RNL is I go Biblis if she's available, and then always Yulha. If Biblis, or in this case Salome, was pre-banned, otherwise I would have gone Biblis, Salome, still Renak on 3, then I would have gone Yulha on 4 if she was still available at this point. And always go mate when I'm playing against Obald on 3, because I can't pre-ban him. But this game was rather easy. I mean, he had no means to defeat my team, so it was okay. In this case, I was first pick. This guy pre-banned RNL and Biblis, so whenever I see that, he has no opener. He took out the 1 unit that messes up my playstyle, which is Biblis, so I just go Notos in that case. Since you picked Furin, I just go Beline and Renak. Renak is a staple, and you will see more Renak picks in the top 3 as well. And from here on out, I had the huge advantage over his team. So when you see a kind of draft like this, you already know the enemy is basically forced to ban Notos, because there's nothing to deal with Notos in this draft. And then he decides to go Monarch Iseria and Bellona. Bellona is a good pick here, don't get me wrong, especially because I have Bellona to front load Fighting Spirit onto the Bellona. But I also decided to go Witch 10A, so I have full debuff control, and I basically eliminate his Monarch, in which case he is forced to ban Mort, such that Monarch can do anything in this game. Unluckily for him, that meant that my Renak and Switch 10A could do their thing. And yeah, it went as you would expect. 10A lands 8 out of 8. I know, lucky. And then Notus presses and the game is over. Alright, this game... I don't even know how I won this game. I believe this... How did I even win this game? Oh yeah, I outsped. Right? Killed the Renak. Which was a misplay now that I think of it. The correct play was to S2 onto the Witch 10A. Because there's always the possibility of her waking up and then ruining my day. Also, this guy FF'd for no reason, which is kind of interesting in this case. So I leave a whispered here, which is very nice. I believe this guy was just tilted. Like, he missed here again. Yeah, sure. My Estelle survives, which is very nice. I have a soul, so I can get rid of Tene, which is obviously the correct play here. And at this point, the guy just FFs, and I'm not quite sure why he does that. Sure, he loses his... When he fields here, what happens is my RNL laps, or goes before the Notos. I killed the Clearing, but then the Notos can just Soulburn S2 onto my RNL. Yes, this will trigger Setsuka, but RNL dies, so does Estelle die, she comes back. But there's still a very good chance that he just outright kills my Estelle on the either on the S1 or his second S2, and then I'm Setsuka plus Arunka versus Notos, and I'm not quite sure whether I would win this. So I believe this guy just FF'd out of tilt, but I don't know. This was just a gear diff, basically. This was... Oh yeah, that was an interesting game. So what I like doing, when I see an enemy team that has a lot of buffs, such as this team, the same applies to a lot of Moondome teams. It's very nice to go for Green Landy. She's an underrated unit, and she's one of my pocket picks that I really like going for. Now, this was it ER Frenzy? Yeah, so this is ER Frenzy. I picked my tanky boss Arunka in this case, so my POV one. Yes, I know I should be going for Crown of Glory, but that's beside the point. And this one is on 250 ER in this scenario, so the chances of RNL debuffing her, especially if it's a full DPS RNL, are basically 0 at this point. So that was kind of nice. Yeah, he lands on these two. My so funny that there is no bubble, but yeah, Arunka got bubbled, and there's two choices to be made here, right? I can either superhuman the Biblis or superhuman the Landy. I chose to superhuman Landy. I made a small misplay in this case. For some reason, S1, I totally forgot that I have my basic S3. So I S1 like an idiot. But we shall find out that luckily this does not matter much, because we hit a 10% chance in this case. So we did actually land on the RNL here. We killed off the... we almost killed off the Obald, which is very nice. Sadly, Obald lived here, but next attack would have gotten rid of him. I could have soulburned here as well, just to put more pressure onto the enemy. And at the end of the day, there's this guy has 0 reach against Landy, so Landy would eventually win me the game. So yeah, enough of my games. Let's move on to window capture. And here is Aronian. The rank... Oops. This is the correct screen. So this is Aronian, currently rank 1. And what you see here is that she also picks a lot of Renak. She has 80% win rate with her Renak. Now, again, as you can tell, just like I pick, which is why I said I have rather similar picks to Legend players. She also picks Nodos, naturally. And what you can see here is something that is actually really funny, because her gear is on another level. This Nodos is 270 speed, or around about 270. How do I know that? Well, because I played against Madlad a few days ago, and I know for a fact that his Flan is 270-ish speed, because she's as fast as my Celine, and my Celine is 271, and she was at the same speed percentage as my Celine. So yeah, this is around about 270 speed. This could be speed RNG. This could be 260 speed. Nonetheless, this is a really fast Nodos. And you know that it's really fast because she's not running immunity. She's running a crit set on Nodos, which is kind of crazy, honestly. But yeah, this game is a showcase of, yeah, sure, she has Nodos, but also Arbiter Wildred. There is always one hard carry in every game nowadays. It's either Tori, it's either RB, it's either um, Low Crash and Bellona, it's Renak, it's RNL, so, or Nodos. And usually these games revolve around these specific comps. Now let's check her last 10 days, which is also quite interesting. So she switched to playing a lot of Briar Cleave again, because a lot of people adopted the playstyle of going for Lady of the Scales plus, not Lady of the Scales, Sarame plus Ruel on 1-2 when you second pick and the enemy picks Scales, which is something that I believe Nightfall does, we will be looking at. And yeah, so her latest drafts have been revolving around Renak and her Renak, just like my Renak. I basically copied her Renak build in this case, minus the Pursuit. She's on Summer Photogenic, and Summer Photogenic is so nice because when you outspeed the enemy opener, in this case Renak, you get to basically kill the RNL for free, because Estelle's mitigation doesn't work against Photogenic, which is nice. And there is no RNL in the world right now, unless you're playing some wild repulse build with 15k or more HP. But otherwise, every other regular RNL dies, which is very nice in this case. And yeah, her drafts completely resolve around speed. Either she picks Zeo or she goes for speed. Briar is super fast. In this case, she has, yeah, as we can tell, usually most Diolhas are 280 to 300 speed range. Mine, for example, is 294. And this Briar of hers is super fast. Here she Zeos. She has a slower Zeo, which is kind of interesting. It's a full nuke Zeo. And the Renak is just her opener. So it's a speed race. The current meta completely revolves around speed and RNG. Why do I say RNG? Well, we do have multiple RNG checks in these games. First RNG check, technically speaking, not in this case, 70% evasion at the start of the battle. Same for Arbiter Wildred, 70% evasion. Setsuka is super meta. Low Crash and Bellona is an evasion unit that has 60% innate evasion as long as all your team members are alive. Then there's Obeyed Ludwig, who has the issue of getting 15%. There are so many RNG checks in this game right now that for the most part, the enjoyment of the game is going down tremendously. And let's not talk about Setsuka, because she still makes my blood boil. This unit is just max unethical. She's the most dumbest unit ever to exist in the game, and she shouldn't be in this game. But yeah, as you can tell, Arnel, Salome, and I just like to point out, because a lot of people really undervalue or undersell Salome, but her Salome win rate is about 80%, which is crazy. Now let's check out Nightfall. Funnily enough, the last two games he lost that are on display here. But he's another one of those Salome plays. His Salome is 315 speed range. And that is crazy, because you need an average of, I believe, 23 or 24 to make that happen. Basically, he probably put his best gear on Salome, and from there on, he scaled it down. But what you can see from his top picks is he's a certified turn 2 player, which is interesting because that's a stark difference to Aronian. And all his picks here are more akin to turn 2. Here we see the Tori on 3, super protected by Estelle, by Lady of the Scales and whatnot, against Risada Barao. And yeah, this Tori was the MVP. She dealt most of the damage. Also in Summer Photogenic, as we can tell, Summer Photogenic probably the best artifact in the game right now, and it's kind of annoying that Smygate hasn't rerun this, because there are so many thieves that actually want Summer Photogenic. There's Tori, there's Arbiter Wildred, there's Renak, Celine also wants it. and probably a lot more thieves that I just forgot about right now that also probably want summer photogenic. So we need plenty more. Oh yeah, Argent Waves Fire, obviously, also wants summer photogenic. But yeah, classic turn 2 draft. You have your hard carry protected by Dien, by a tank, by a Soul Weaver. In this case, Lady of the Scales will heals a little bit, but more so provides tempo to the team, and a chip DPS in which is Dien here, and that's his drafting style. Now he can be fast, as you can see, against Aparte here, global player with Korean name, Aparte. His Salome, let's not forget, his Renak is also super fast, but not as fast. I believe his Renak is 320, which still is fast, but you know. And then his Salome is at 96, which is kind of crazy. So you know what happened? Is his Renak? No, his Renak is on discrete hands. So what I believe happened here is that she just is freed into the obeyed, or did he? Yeah, it's an interesting choice whether he S2'd S3'd into Eye of the Abyss just to push her back. I don't know. If it were me, I would probably just go safe route and S3 into the front line, because that triggers Veronica. We can then stun the Monarch potentially, and then win the game from there. Yeah, that's how I would pursue this. But nonetheless, he can be fast and he abuses speed as well, as you can tell. But his gameplay shines the most when he plays turn 2. Like in this game, here against this Asia guy. Sure, he abused his super fast. Salome here probably copied the Dark Corvus to get rid of probably Setsuka, I would believe. Yeah, he got rid of Setsuka right away. I believe he got rid of Setsuka right away, because otherwise he would have probably had at least one attack. So that's my best guess. He just killed off the Setsuka right away and flew throughout the game. But yeah, and then we've got our cleaver or aggro player, Wolf, aka Higa. He's just abusing speed. He's a Renak main, so to say. Every other game you will see either Renak, a lot of Renak actually. 65% win rate. He's also playing a lot of Aurnel whenever he gets to play with Aurnel. He's also a famous Briar Cleaver. He's also playing Salome with great success, 65% win rate, but also Lady of the Scales is still, especially for aggro and cleave, the best option. Less so for turn 2, which is kind of funny because she was meant to solve aggro and cleave, but is exclusively used in these playstyles nowadays. But nonetheless, as you can tell, also Salome Ruel, good comp. Also another form of super high aggro, Lady of the Scales and Freerun. I find it very interesting that Risada Varao didn't opt for Arnel. Like, he literally could have gone for Arnel plus Zio. For some reason he didn't. And that cost him probably, that most likely cost him the game, because Risada has no means of defeating either Freerun or Arnel with this comp, which is kind of funny. And yeah, Higa basically abuses speed like everybody else these days. And it's funny because most of his losses are to RNG units. Yeah, in this case against Parking, Monarch of the Sword basically cost him the game, and his Setsuka didn't perform. This game, I don't know how he lost. It's always hard to see how the top 3 lose, because they lose very rarely, so to say. This game was, he got soloed by RNL and probably Obald, or got outsped, I would assume. This was a Setsuka game. I watched this live on stream. He was super modding for all the good reasons. Evasion, and you're having a bad time. It's just, we all hate Setsuka. So, after some of these analysis, this is Slendymang. It's a super cool website where you can check a lot of good stuff. Your own, if you're in the top 500, I believe, or top 1K, I don't quite know the cutoff. I believe it's top 500 or top 1K, so all emperors should be in there. And you can check your stats and whatnot, but what's most important is you can fiddle around a lot with drafting. So this is the E7 Draft Explorer by Slendymang. I can put the link into the description, and you can check for drafts. So let's go just one exemplary draft. We've seen a lot. So I pre-ban Harsetti and Zio because that, I believe, that is the play these days. And enemies usually pre-ban, against me at least, Nodos plus Biblis. And in this case, what I personally like to do is, if these two are pre-banned, you can go Lady of the Scales. Now the enemy, if he's not that bad, the enemy is going to go Rihanna and Luciela. There she is. And since Zio is banned, the enemy will usually, because most of the time, if the player is actually good, the enemy will know that you're trying to pick Freeran on 2. So good players will steal the Freeran off of you. However, now that it's our turn to pick, and it's funny that the game would suggest these type of drafts. None of those come to mind. So what you can do in this case is go Belian. Oh, why doesn't it not show Belian for me? Where can I find Belian? Game? Oh, I reset it. Well, it should have been Belian. I tested this before, and funnily enough, it didn't work. So let's go again. So Zio Harsetti. This with Big Lady. Enemy goes Arnel plus Freeran. And all seasons, please apply. I'm so sorry. I don't know why this is taking so long, but it should not be. But anyways, you would usually go Belian plus Vrinak here to race, and then the enemy would probably go Boss Arunka on 3 just to prevent you from doing nasty stuff. And for the most part, the enemy could also go Obey Ludwig, but that would directly tell you he's definitely banning Belian. But still, it's a pick that is often done. Also, what's often done is going for Setsuka on 4 in this case. Which is fine, because we can then go something like, what's the name? Witch of the Mere Tenebria. And let me just go back to the screen so we don't look at this. Or let's go back into the game, because this is not updating. So the enemy would go into, we would go into Mort plus Witch of the Mere, which puts the enemy in a very awkward spot because both units are really annoying. And if your Witch of the Mere Tenebria is on the artifact, the new artifact from Fulmir, you will have the huge advantage. Now, I do have, so the new artifact I'm talking about is Refracted Desire, which increases, if you outspeed, that is, the wearer takes a 20% CR boost right away when you outspeed. So it will always appear as if your Witch of the Mere or Eye of the Abyss Fulmir will speed RNG your Renak or the other opener. That's not the case. It's just that she got the push and is taking the turn right after. But it's nice. Ideally, once we know what the artifact for Orb is and whether it's super strong, I will put my second copy. I have two. Now that I think about it, I forgot to upload my full video for I have the Abyss. I have two armies of those. Surely somewhere. Oh yeah, there it is. And I can bottle them up. I have enough bottles. So that's how you would win this game. But still, it's a speed race. You have to be comfortable speed racing. But yeah, that's pretty much it. The state of the meta, I hate it. It's the worst meta easily. It's either speed or RNG fiesta. A literally clown game right now. I'm gonna be so happy when it's over in 2 weeks. And let's hope that the meta next season is going to be a lot better. More balanced, less RNG reliant. And yeah, I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on the current meta, because I'm not liking this at all. But maybe your opinion differs from mine, and I'd like to hear it. Let me know in the comments, and have a good one. Bye bye.